A dodgy pen and a scandalous sending off was the difference today at Celtic Park when Celtic came out 3-1 winners against Hibernian. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. Here to review the game today, Celtic versus Hibernian. What was it? A couple of months ago, Cal McGregor came out and he said that Celtic would need to get a lot of decisions in their favour in order for VAR to level it between now and the end of the season. And you know what? I agreed with him. You know, Celtic, I think at the beginning of the season, they were on the receiving end of a lot of bad decisions. But Jesus Christ, since Cal McGregor came out and said that, Celtic have been getting all the decisions their own way. And today was almost criminal from the referee. And he should be coming out, he should have to answer to someone. He should have to, I don't know, he should be sent into the dressing room and give Lee Johnson and the Hibs lads a bunch of boxing gloves or something and let them 10 minutes with the referee, because today that was a shambolic performance. He sends off Johan with 2 yellow cards. You could argue none of them were yellow cards. Sends him off, and then the penalty, Carter Vickers is all over Hanlon. Carter Vickers locks his arm around Hanlon and he throws himself to the floor, and the referee gets fooled by that. The referee even gave another penalty and then he rescinded it because he went to check VAR. And I was listening to Lee Johnson's post-match press conference, and I thought he kept a level head, to be fair, considering what happened to his team. And you're going to get people saying I'm hating on Celtic, but as a Hearts fan, why the fuck would I be coming on here and praising Hibs or saying Hibs got things, shafted against them today, unless it was true? So yeah, it was true. Hibs were on the bad end of some dodgy decisions today. We'll talk about Johan first. So first yellow card he gets. He's attempting to put a block in, and you could argue, he connects with the guy's foot. Maybe boot-to-boot connection or whatever, but I mean, this was early on in the game. It was Johan's first challenge. Normally, this would get ruled away. Normally, this would be a warning. Yeah, if you've done this a couple of times, or it's your second or third challenge, then maybe a yellow, but this was the first thing Johan done in the game, and he got booked straight away. I thought it was harsh, considering it was the first foul that he committed. But, whatever. If the ref's going to give him a yellow, then maybe the referee's setting a precedent of, what kind of, game he's going to referee. He's going to be strict today. He's going to take no bullshit. Maybe that is what he was trying to do when he delivered this yellow card in the opening, beginning of the game. But then we got Johan. Ball's coming up to Johan. Hibs are clearing it from the back. Johan has obviously got his back to the Celtic goal, just in the Hibs half of the halfway line. Carter Vickers is all over the back of Johan. He's dragging Johan. He's pulling Johan. He's all over him, leaning all over him. Should be a free kick to Johan. Then Johan attempts to do he's been pulled to the floor, so he's fallen on his back. And the only way he can try and win this ball is by attempting some form of overhead kick, or at least lifting his leg up and trying to make a connection, because he's been pulled to the floor. So he tries to do that while being fouled, and then Carter Vickers brings himself dead low to the ground and goes for a diving header. Carter Vickers must have been about 3 feet. His head must have been about 3 feet off the ground. He makes connection with Johan, who's going for the ball. This isn't a tackle. This isn't an attempt at tackle. This is Johan being pulled to the ground and trying to get something on the ball. Carter Vickers puts his head between Johan's boot and the ball, and the referee goes over, he checks it. The referee didn't give nothing here. The referee, was happy to continue. Then he goes over to VAR, he checks it, and he gives a yellow card. I mean, absolutely embarrassing here. I've not seen one person say that this was a second yellow. I mean, everybody I see is saying that this was a disgrace. Pundits alike. So I know we'll have Celtic fans coming on and crying and being, he endangered Colin Carter Vickers. He hurt his beautiful head. I want to kiss it better. And I know we're going to get that. I know we're going to get these crybaby bitches. But this was not a second yellow, man. It just wasn't. Fucking deal with it, right? I said at the start of the video, Celtic were on the receiving end of a lot of bad decisions. I've admitted that. I've said that. But why? I don't see why, when they get favourable decisions, the same can't be said. Why can't we turn around and say, well, you know what? Start of the season, Celtic got a lot of bad decisions against them. But recently, in the past couple of months, they've actually had some decisions go their way. Why can't we just be men and actually fucking look at the game, acknowledge what's happening, and tell the truth? But no, we've got to fucking lie. And don't get me wrong, Rangers still get the most decisions out of anybody, but come on, ever since Cal McGregor made those statements, Celtic have been getting favourable decisions week in, week out. Anyway, Hibs take the lead. Josh Campbell. But it was over. This game was done, right? You cannot go down to 10 men against Celtic, especially at Celtic Park. Maybe if you've got, 10 minutes to go or something. But even then, Celtic never stopped. So the chances of you holding on with 10 minutes to go is unlikely. But the chances of Hibs holding on with another half to go was impossible. Just like St Mirren, last week, you just knew St Mirren were not going to be able to hold on because there was too much time to play with 10 men. But Hibs get into the break with their goal advantage, whatever, thanks to Campbell. 8 minutes as well, add it on, which I thought was a little bit too much. Then we get the penalty for Celtic in the second half, and this was not a penalty. And before anyone says the Hibs penalty in the first half wasn't a penalty, I think it was. And the reason I'm going to give for that is because we've seen a couple of weeks ago, Rangers were taking on Livy, and I believe it was Morelos got pulled in the box. There was barely anything in it. And he wasn't even going to get the ball. The ball was already headed away by another Livy defender, but the referee punished it. Was it Nicky Devlin? It might have been or Penrice. I think it was Penrice. The referee punished Penrice, gave the penalty against Morelos. Even though Morelos was nowhere near the ball, Morelos did not contest for the ball, and it was like a really light tug of the shirt. And that was deemed a penalty. So if that's a penalty, then this has to 100% be a penalty, because Paul Hanlon was actually going for the ball. Paul Hanlon was going towards the ball. He was rising for the ball. And, he's getting pulled back, man. It's a blatant pull. So, yeah, no, if they're going to give a penalty for Rangers against Livy, for Penrice or Morelos, then you have to give a penalty here. We need some consistency. You could argue both. I mean, it's just tugs. I mean, sometimes you'll see football where, maybe not so much now with VAR, but in the past you'll see people literally ripping the shirts off each other and nothing was given. But I think we need some consistency. So I'm just basing this off the last shirt pull penalty that I seen. And if that one for Rangers against Livy was a pen, then today was 100% a pen for Hibernian. But let's speak about the Celtic pen. Carter Vickers, Carter Vickers would not go down like this. Carter Vickers did not get pulled. He's a big fucking guy. He did not get pulled down by Paul Hanlon. I mean, initially it does look like Hanlon is holding on to him and holding his shirt and pulling him down, but when you see it from a different angle from behind the goal, you actually see Carter Vickers. He locks one of his arms underneath Hanlon, and then he's kind of holding on to him, and he makes it look as if Hanlon's forcing him to the ground. But in reality, man, this I thought was a dive. And I think most pundits said it was a dive as well. So, or maybe a dive's harsh. I don't want to call Carter Vickers a cheat here, but he certainly didn't get pulled to the ground. Let's put it that way. I don't think he had to go down. There wasn't enough contact to say he went down way too easily. Fuck it, he is a cheat. He's a cheating bastard, man. Fuck him. I'm going to call it a dive. Yeah, there you go. Politically correct or Whitman. I'm calling it a blatant dive. Let's be honest, man. There's been worse things happening at this club than diving. So yeah, blatant dive in my opinion. Jota steps up, takes the penalty. It's not a great penalty, but luckily for him, it was an even worse save for Davy Marshall. Davy Marshall, goes the right way, and the only part the ball could go underneath his body, it does. So he just right underneath him, man. Embarrassing here, Davy Marshall. And people are wanting this guy to come out and come out of retirement and be Scotland #1. Please no. Stay away, Davy. We don't need you. Anyway, O gets his first goal for Celtic. Good goal for O. Powerful header. Haven't seen enough of O, but I think the guy could be a good player for Celtic. He's more of a physical player, power player. I think they need that. You've got your Kyogo, who's all about movement and reaction and finding the space and creating runs, and he's just got the vision where he can run into the gaps and the pockets of space, and he's a very, very creative player that he's always looking for the ball. He's always making the runs for the midfielders, whereas you feel like O is your more physical player that maybe if Celtic are struggling to break teams down, he can, maybe he can create a goal on his own, just loft the ball into the box for him and let him do his thing. So, yeah, definitely a different player for Kyogo, but I still think it could work. I don't think O will ever be number one at Celtic as long as Kyogo's there, but I do think he offers, something different, and that's what you want. Let's be honest, you don't want two strikers that are the same. It's always good to have different strikers with different qualities, and I think that's what Celtic have got here. So yeah, Ange Postecoglou looks like he's signed another good player. To be fair, he hasn't signed many bad ones, has he? So, yeah, O gets his goal, and then Haksabanovic in the 95th minute makes it 3-1. Now, there was a penalty for Abada. It was given a penalty, and then the referee went and checked it, and he, overruled his own decision, I guess. And this was not a penalty either. I mean, Abada he's got the ball, and he just runs the ball into Davy Marshall, and Davy Marshall's knee hits the ball, takes the ball away, and then Abada just collides into Marshall. So I mean, Abada's not really made any attempt to go around Marshall. He's literally just ran straight into him. So again, you can't get a penalty for this. The referee got this one right. Unfortunately, though, he definitely got the sending off wrong, and I think he got the Celtic penalty wrong. I mean, I wouldn't say that the Celtic penalty, I wouldn't say it's 100% the wrong call. I just think he got it wrong, but the sending off was a fucking disgrace, man. Honestly, man, the sending off's diabolical. Referee should need to come out and, I don't know, hand in his referee licence, if he even has one. I mean, based on that performance, I don't think he's got one, but yeah, whatever. Celtic win. Yeah, maybe it looked like for a while they were going to drop points, but no, they get the 3 points. They remain 9 points clear at the top of the table. Anyone who thinks the league's still on, man, you're kidding yourself on, man. This league's done. This league is done and dusted. Honestly, man, just look at the two squads. I mean, I knew Celtic were going to win the league at the start of the season anyway, so I didn't need them to have a 9-point gap to convince me. But yeah, the league's done. The league's done. We turn our attention now to the Scottish Cup, really. That'll decide whether, probably, no disrespect to Inverness or Falkirk, but that semi-final will probably decide whether Celtic indeed do a treble this season, or if Rangers can win the Scottish Cup back to back. And I mean, could you imagine that? Imagine Ange wins the treble this year, and he gets 5 out of 6 trophies. Now, 5 out of 6 trophies is great, no matter how good the team is. Look, even during the Brendan Rodgers era, if you got 5 out of 6 trophies, and I know they did the quadruple treble and that shit, but 5 out of 6 trophies, even if you've got the best team in the league by quite a distance, that is still really good, because the consistency to win cups, you're not allowed bad games, you're not allowed to have an off 90 minutes, or else you're done, you're screwed. So if they could win 5 out of 6 trophies over 2 seasons, that would be great. But when you factor in the mess Ange Postecoglou came into, he had to basically rebuild an entire team. And I know sometimes we say that and it's literally, a few players coming in, but at Celtic he actually pretty much did rebuild the entire team. There's 3 players, I believe, that are still on the books from the 2019-20 title winning team. So that's insane, guys. Absolutely insane. What a job he's done. You know what, I like him. He's a good guy. Don't really like the team he manages, but I like Ange Postecoglou. Hopefully, though, he's not celebrating another Scottish Cup or another trophy by the end of this season. Anyway, guys, that's the match review. Referee got this 100% wrong. Celtic came out 3-1 winners, and maybe Cal McGregor, maybe if he came out and made those comments sooner, Celtic might have been getting decisions from the very beginning of the season. But yeah, probably deserved the win. But still, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right that Johan got sent off. Doesn't make it right that, in my opinion, they got a penalty that was actually a foul against Hanlon. But whatever, we move on. More football to come, guys, and that's it. I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace.